Today we're talking about the new way of running Facebook ads because you need to know what's working right now and not just rely on the best practices told by a Facebook rep. In this video, I'm going to be walking through my 4 most important guidelines that will massively help you improve results. And after this video, I can guarantee you that you'll look at Facebook ads differently. By the way, my name is Pep. I'm a partner and smart marketer, CEO of our agency, and right now our agency is spending millions a month on Facebook ads profitably. So I think about this stuff all the time. Let's dive in with tip number 1, simplifying campaign structures. For ages, Facebook has told us to run broad targeting and let the algorithm do its work. And we found that taking more control by, for example, running interest targeting would actually get us the best return. But over the last 2 years, Facebook algorithms and AI has massively improved. And now we're at the point where about 80% of our total budget is spent on advantage campaign budget. So Facebook recently simplified the setup. We used to have 3 types of campaigns: an Advantage Plus shopping campaign, CBO campaigns, and ABO campaigns. So CBO campaigns stand for campaign budget optimization and ABO campaigns stand for ad set budget optimization. But recently, at least in our ad accounts, Facebook simplified that and now we only have 2 types of campaigns: Advantage Plus campaign budget or Advantage Plus ad set budget. And by the way, who came up with these names? We have Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, Advantage Plus audiences, and right now we are mostly running Advantage Plus campaign budgets. So you set the budget at the campaign level and basically you let Facebook do its thing. You don't give any restrictions. We can let the Facebook algorithm figure out to find new customers or leads. We still run some interest targeting, by the way, but for the majority of our ad accounts, we're giving Facebook the full freedom to do its thing. But something that we do differently than Facebook's recommendation is that we have 1 offer or 1 page per campaign. So let me explain that. Let's say we're running ads for a brand called Pretty Farm Girl. They have 3 pages that they know that work to acquire customers. They have a home page that converts, collection page that converts, and a product page. We would create 1 campaign for each of these pages, also with their own creative in it. And we have a few reasons for that. First, squeezing the juice or simply maximizing results. You probably have experienced that Facebook basically pushes the majority of their budget to 1 or 2 ads in a campaign. If I have 3 pages that I know that convert well and I have creatives for all of these pages, I want to split them out in their own campaign so I can push budget to all of these pages instead of Facebook giving the freedom to probably only push spend to 1 or 2 of these pages if I would squeeze them together in 1 campaign. We also do this because of acquisition diversification. In the case of Pretty Farm Girl, we might be able to acquire customers through their tallow cream for sensitive skin product page, but they also sell body oils and even natural soap. So even though the customer avatar is very similar, these different people might be experiencing different problems in their life. One person might be really struggling with their sensitive skin, while another person is really in the need of a body oil. I want to capture both of them. So therefore we split them out in separate campaigns with also their own creatives. I hope that makes sense. The last reason is simply understanding what's happening in an account fast. Let me show you how we set this up for Pretty Farm Girl. The top campaign that we're looking at is for Rooted and Ready, which is a travel size sensitive skincare kit. The campaign underneath is going to a collection page of the body oils. And the campaign after that is going to a 10% evergreen discount page. As you can see, this campaign structure allows us to target different people, but also allows us to understand really quick what offers are converting well and what offers are not converting very well. Another reason to use 1 product per campaign is easy tracking, which leads me to tip number 2, tracking. Tracking is crucial to understand whether our ads are actually driving profit or not, which is pretty obvious. But for me, tracking is not looking at these things in isolation. It's looking at something that I call the golden triangle of tracking. 1, the ads manager, 2, a third-party tracking tool, and 3, the backend. Let me go through them one by one. In the last year, Ads Manager has become much more reliable than it used to be after the iOS 14.5 update. So it actually now gives us a fairly good idea of what's going on. For most accounts, we look at the 7-day click, 1-day view through attribution window. Now, if you don't know what the view through attribution window is, you can just disregard it for now. But in some accounts, we actually do remove the view through window if we think it might be skewing results. We use a couple of third-party tracking tools for our clients. I would say that Triple Whale and Northbeam are the most popular for our e-commerce clients. And for our non-e-commerce clients, Hyros is the most popular. So you have to think about information companies, companies, software companies, and service-based companies. And there are many more attribution tools, such as Wicked reports. But the point is not really to use one particular attribution tool. The point is more that, hey, we need to have the ads manager, we need to have the backend, and we want to have a third-party attribution tool in our stack to actually find the truth. These attribution tools help us to make media buying decisions day to day. And they generally have 5 attribution settings. Generally, we use the attribution setting that will actually allocate revenue to each platform that was part of the customer journey. Attribution settings, by the way, are probably a whole YouTube video in itself, so I won't go deep into that right now. But even if the ads manager and an attribution tool shows high ROAS, I want to make sure that I'm seeing the same thing in the actual backend. The backend is where you see the true results come in, such as your Shopify dashboard or Stripe or your CRM. So therefore, we always build data sheets that pull in these backend numbers, for example, from Shopify or from Stripe, so that we have a really good overview of what's actually going on in the business. Because this is the only way to verify that the ads manager or a third-party tracking tool are at least directionally correct. Because I want to verify that my new customer CPA, for example, from a backend standpoint is fairly similar to what my tracking tool is saying or what my ads manager is saying. Because let's be honest, you don't care if an ads manager ROAS is really high, but you don't see it show up in your Shopify or your Stripe. You care what's actually happening with the money in, money out. And therefore, you don't want to rely just on an ads manager or a third-party tracking tool. You want to have your main KPI probably a back-end number, such as new customer ROAS or a blended ROAS in your business or a new customer CPA. If we look at new customer CPA, we can look at what's the total amount that I'm spending on ads and what's the factual back-end number of new customers that I'm bringing in. And if I divide those two, I have a back-end new customer CPA number. And with that, I can look at, hey, what's Ads Manager saying? Or hey, what's a third-party tracking tool saying? And this is an example of a data sheet. And this allows us as well to see what's going on in just a few seconds. So I can see the true new customer ROAS and actually understand how well overall our ads are doing. I can also see a blended ROAS and have a very good understanding of how well or how profitable the business is right now. So you can obviously customize these sheets to whatever you need. And I'll put a link in the description so you can copy it and use it for yourself. The point is that you need one source of truth that can verify what's happening on the ad platforms. And therefore, I highly recommend you use a data sheet, whether it's automated or manually. You need something which is the source of truth, and we use these data sheets for that. Of these 3, I would say that the Ads Manager and a data sheet, obviously those are non-negotiables to really look at that daily. I also think that a third-party tracking tool is helpful, but generally you can start using that when you're spending around $1,000 a day in ads. Let's move on to tip number 3. Creative is king. If you have an offer that's converting, a decent ad account structure, and you have your tracking sorted out, the next thing that will bring your ad account to the next level is absolutely creative. Creative has always been important, but right now, creative volume, diversification, and quality are the top priority in all of our ad accounts. And this has also been the main thing that Meta has been communicating to advertisers. In Meta's recent performance marketing summit, they talked about creative over and over again, basically discussing how important it is, especially as we're more moving towards the age of AI. So let's go through a few slides of their performance marketing summit. On this slide, they talk about mixed assets and optimizing your creative for different placements. You also want to focus on different creative themes. So you want to have user-generated content. You want to have static images with people in them. You want to have static images with just your product and text overlay. The point is you want to have different creative themes that will resonate with different people in your audience. Meta said that campaigns with 5 to 10 creative themes will generate more results than campaigns that don't. Which also sounds pretty obvious, and sometimes we do have to take Meta's recommendation with a grain of salt. But in this case, they are 100% right when it comes to creative, and also the rising importance of having different creative themes in your ad account. Because running various creative teams will just attract subgroups in our audience. And if we want to have the maximum amount of scale and the maximum performance, we want to have different creative themes that resonate with different subgroups in our audience. And an easy hack to have more creatives in a few seconds is to use Meta's AI in the Ads Manager. Now, I have to say, it's not the best and it cannot generate the different creative themes, but it does allow you to create a lot of variation by adding different backgrounds, different colors, and also different text overlays on your images. And this is also the worst that Meta AI will ever be. I think that in the next year or two, it will become incredibly good in creating creative variations for our ad accounts. So let's say we have that creative and we have the creative volume and diversification. This brings me to tip number 4. our creative testing structure. So we used to have campaigns that would be only focused on testing new creatives. We would generally use our best performing interest to test new creatives. But right now that has completely changed. This is how we test creatives right now. So the moment we get new creatives and we see creative fatigue happening in one of our campaigns, what we now do is we just add these new creatives into these campaigns that have already been running and already have been getting good results, but where we're seeing creative fatigue to kick in. So whenever we see that a campaign really needs a bit of a boost, we add new creatives to that campaign. This results in the fact that we have some campaigns that have been running for months, but we constantly add new creatives to the campaign and we turn the creatives off that are basically done and are not hitting our KPI anymore. I do recommend that you use our campaign structure for this if you want to test creatives like this. So that means that you only have one product or one offer per campaign, because otherwise this way of testing creative doesn't make a lot of sense. But if all campaigns are actually doing well and you have new creatives coming in, there's nothing against in creating a new campaign with just those new creatives. It's also important to understand that different ad accounts behave differently. So sometimes we have setup number 1 in ad account 1 that works really well, but it doesn't really work in some of our other ad accounts. So it is really important to understand that if you have one certain way of running ads and it's working really well, try obviously to test this information, but make sure that you keep doubling down on what's working best in your ad account. That's it for this one. Please subscribe if you found this valuable, send it to a friend, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.